We continue to bring you all the hot developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. As you know, the war continues. New news reaches us every day from the front line. While the mutual attacks continue, a news that emerged offers very important indicators. The Russian army was trying to protect its tanks against Ukrainian attacks by taking different measures. For this reason, the protective plates and spare parts added to the tanks made the tanks look like turtles. This move of the Russian army was ridiculed by many social media users. This is not the first modification of the Russian army. In the previous months, the measures taken by the Russian army against Ukrainian attacks were on the agenda. The Russian army had applied methods such as covering warplanes with tires and placing models in positions. These measures taken by the Kremlin military were insufficient to prevent Ukrainian attacks. It seems that the Russian army still continues to take security measures with primitive methods, but fails to achieve its goal. The measures taken by the Russian army cannot prevent the Ukrainian army's attacks and are ineffective in preventing damage. The ammunition and explosive warheads used by the Ukrainian army have the same effect on the turtle tanks used by the Russian army. Russian turtles advancing in convoys are unable to repel the Ukrainian army's attacks and are destroyed. Ukrainian social media accounts say that the Russian army's turtle tanks are tragicomic and that the Russian army is running low on stocks. Russian authorities have not yet commented on the issue. Modernization of tanks is something that every army wants and supports. But the Russian army is not modernizing the tanks, on the contrary, it is putting weight on them. This prevents functionality. While the Russian army should have learned from the modifications it made in previous periods, it has been the target of great criticism for attempting such a thing again. Let's take a look at the Russian tank convoy and Russian turtles targeted by the Ukrainian army. As Newsmark, we continue to bring you developments on the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. I also read all the comments you make on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments with us in the comments. Tell us in the comments what content you would like to see on the Newsmark channel. Let's start if you are ready. Newsmark reports. The appearance of Russian tanks during the Ukrainian operation the other day was quite surprising. Due to the plates added to the tanks looked like turtles. The Russian tanks, which were ridiculed by Ukrainian social media users, fell prey to the Ukrainian attack while moving in convoy. Russian forces continue to attack Ukrainian frontline positions in the Donetsk region of the country using tanks equipped with protective metal structures. New footage from the frontline shows that fighting is flaring up across the country. Ukraine's 79th Separate Air Assault Brigade, operating in eastern Ukraine, has released a short video showing what it describes as a 17-vehicle Russian attack on its troops around Novomykhailivka in Kiev's Donetsk region over the past day. Even the protective metal coating on the tanks did not help against the targeted fire, the 79th Brigade said in a post on social media. Footage circulating online in recent weeks shows Russia using fixed, shell-like metal structures around its tanks to protect the vehicles from frontline Ukrainian first-person view kamikaze drone attacks. The vehicles with protective cages have been dubbed turtle tanks, which have been mocked from open-source accounts. Images published by Ukrainian sources over the last few weeks showed damaged Russian tanks and the remains of metal-protected crates in Donetsk. Kiev has made extensive use of cheap FPV drones to target Russian armored vehicles and tanks. Russian tanks are favorite targets of Ukrainian FPV drones, the Kiev Defense Ministry said last month. The Ukrainian military uses low-cost drones to target the Russian military's expensive weapons and equipment. As a result of these attacks, the Russian army suffers great material damage. The 79th Brigade said Ukrainian artillery, and anti-tank missiles were fired at the convoy near Novomykhailivka. Thanks to the skill and well-coordinated work of our soldiers, 4 tanks, 6 infantry fighting vehicles and 1 armored rescue vehicle remained on the battlefield, the statement said. As it is clear from the statement, the Ukrainian army destroyed a large part of the Russian convoy. Novomykhailivka is located on the front line southwest of the Russian-controlled city of Donetsk and just south of the village of Marinka, which Moscow captured in December 2023. In southern Donetsk, it is located near Volodar, a strategic settlement where heavy fighting took place during more than 2 years of full-scale war. The settlements in the region are of strategic importance for the Ukrainian military. Russian forces launched several attacks north of Novomykhailivka, including an airstrike on the settlement of Antonivka, west of Novomykhailivka, the Ukrainian military said in a statement at 13:30 local time last day. Russian forces are also continuing fighting on eastern Ukrainian territory to take control of 2 more villages in the Kharkiv region in northeastern Ukraine on the same day. Lieutenant Colonel Nazar, spokesman for the Khortytsia Ukrainian forces group fighting in eastern and northeastern Ukraine, told reporters that Russia is trying to prevent Ukraine from consolidating its positions in the east and south. He said the number of Russian attacks on the front line away from Kharkiv had increased. Moscow officials said in a statement that Russian troops were trying to seize Robotyne, a village in the southern Zaporizhia region that Kiev retook from Russian control in a 2023 counteroffensive. The Ukrainian military, for its part, said in a statement that Russia was trying to advance around Robotyne and that 15 combat clashes had taken place near the settlement since the start of the day. As the clashes between the Ukrainian army and the Russian army continue, the impact of social media has been considerable. The Ukrainian army's communication strategy, based on images and open data, appears to be successful. Kiev authorities are conducting the war process openly to the whole world. The Kremlin administration, on the other hand, is practicing practices that are ridiculed by social media users. This is also causing problems for the image of the Russian military. What do you think about the Ukrainian army hunting down Russian tanks? Do you think Russian tanks look like turtles? Do you think the measures taken by the Russian army can prevent Ukrainian attacks? How do you interpret the Russian army's actions? We care about your opinion. Please share it with us.